was looking at you reading off the teleprompter. Like it's like the roast of Tom Brady. Like everybody just like was looking straight ahead and
What?
you were reading from the teleprompter, like Cool Breeze Studio coming to you live from
the Cool Breeze Studio.
Well, I like that your teleprompter's still in.
Finally watched a little bit of the Tom. Did you see the Tom Brady roast?
I got to see some of it. Not much, but I've
Thoughts?
heard a lot of great things.
See, I've heard both. My son and daughter-in-law loved it. Long-haired guy over there goes, and then I've watched it in bits and pieces. I don't even think I'm halfway through. I don't think it's as good as people think it was.
Everybody at the fire department saw and loved it, and which I get. That's kind of like our kind of humor over there. But I only got to see the very tail end of it, so I think I missed most of the juicy stuff.
Now, what Steve said, and this is 100% true, when you tell a joke, believe me, I know because of this guy,
comedian.
Who's a joke,
top five,
is the delivery. If the delivery, like whatever her name is, Nikki Glaser, is a comedian. So when she did what she did, it was funny because of her delivery. Some of these guys who are not, I mean, it really wasn't funny. It was a lot of gay sexual stuff.
Well, but here's the thing.
Until Gronk goes, I wrote that one. It was pretty funny.
So similar to this show, right? We do no preparation. I didn't know you were coming to the studio today. I don't know who we're interviewing next. I don't know until they're actually live on the phone. Mm-hmm. But I think that's where the true
he can't read.
But I have a teleprompter. But the thing about is that's where the true talent lies. It's kind of like the Whose Line Is It Anyway? Those impromptu TV shows where it's all no script, you just go.
You're winging it.
And that's the talent, right? So with the long special like that, most comedians and people can't hold audience's attention that long.
Sure.
So they'll chop it up in reels and it will be epic for a long time. But to have a live show and just pan with the crowd where there's people talking amongst themselves and they're not engaged and they're just lost and bored, that comes through because it was a live event, and so I think the show itself, the content was awesome. They brought in the UFC, they gave Dana a lot of respect. I mean, it was great for the sport to be featured in the greatest of all time.
Well, that's because Tom and Dana are friends, so there was a reason. I just didn't think it was as good as everybody thought, most people thought.
When Nikki said Gronkowski was the first person born with CTE.
No, again,
I heard she was the best one of the night.
And again, that's her.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've watched any of those other roasts, she always kills it. I mean, she is, when she said about that she would put a bullet in the face of her boyfriend. Yeah. I mean, it was funny, but you would expect her to be funny.
Yeah.
Some of that other stuff. I mean, not to stay on Nikki Glaser, but when she said to Brady, how could you lose $30 million on Bitcoin? Even Gronk, I know it's not real money. I mean, but she is a comedian, so a lot of it's the delivery of it.
Sure.
Tom Brady made a little boo-boo yesterday. I don't know if you guys heard this.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're starting, Fox was doing some stuff, and as they're all getting ready for the upcoming season and the schedule release, and so it was Brady and Strahan, and they were talking about some schedule releases, and the first Fox game, I guess, is Dallas at Cleveland, which will be Tom Brady's first game.
Uh-huh.
And so Strahan said something, and Tom Brady said, and you never know if this stuff is a bit, if it's meant on purpose, but he kind of backtracked after he said it. I believe he made the comment that when he talked about the Cowboys, he said, maybe Zach can finally come through. And you heard groans and moans, and even Strahan's like, huh? And Brady goes, did I just say that out loud? So it's delivery, but now he's going to make some of those comments as the commentator, hopefully no longer the athlete, which is an interesting transition.
So in the roast, he talked about, you could have just asked me if I deflated the footballs and saved $20 million or gave me the $20 million. If that's considered an admission of guilt, can they go back and retract any of those championships? Like, is that something that the NFL could go back?
No, he paid the penalty.
Because Heisman trophies get taken away years later. I mean, there's a lot of sports where if something, substance abuse or steroids or cheating comes out later, they strip you of that title. World champions, Olympians.
If you commit murder and you go to court and you're found not guilty, you can then come out and say, I committed the murder.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. What?
Absolutely.
So OJ could have said he did it?
Yeah.
I mean, he pretty much did when he wrote that book.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. The book was How I Would Have Gotten Away with It. Come on. And that was the whole premise of that movie Double Jeopardy with, is it Ashley Judd? Is that her name? The Judd sister from, the country band. Is she went to prison for murder even though she didn't murder him. Then when he did get murdered or shot, she'd already gone to jail. It's called double jeopardy.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you were found not guilty, then yeah, you can then come out and say, yeah, I did it.
Wow.
And there's nothing. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not playing a lawyer.
Yeah.
But that's double jeopardy.
Send your hate mail too.
Oh, I don't care about hate mail. You know,
the firehouse. That's what.
Yeah.
You guys get mail at the firehouse?
I don't know.
They send.
I think so.
They send bills and stuff like
No,
invoices.
No, that goes to headquarters. They can deal with that stuff.
Like lawn care. Like here's your invoice.
I need to make an invoice.
All right. Well, here's a question about the lawn care. Who pays for the gas for the mower?
That would be the county.
The county does
Yep.
pay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the line for the weed eater, they pay for
I
it.
thought you were going different places for line. I'm like, look, they're not all cool.
We have caffeine. We're not doing any bumps there.
So who greases the pole?
We don't have a pole.
What?
Yeah, man, that's always the two biggest letdown is no pole and there's no dog. Yeah.
There's no pole.
So first
There's
off,
no dog?
well, let's say for
Our priorities are different.
yeah, the dog would be more important to me too. But let's say for we're in Tampa here, the majority of like stations are one story, so you don't need a pole. You know what I mean? But a lot of them they took them out, I guess, because they started becoming kind of like a liability type thing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you can go 2 seconds down the pole or 4 seconds down, one flight of stairs, and you don't have a chance of falling as much. So
I would think you have a better chance falling downstairs than sliding down a pole.
We would fall down both.
Shocking.
You get up at 4 a.m.
I mean, we're in Tampa, the strip club capital of the world, and you can tell me that our firehouses don't have poles? We're in Tampa, the strip club capital of the world, and you can tell me that our firehouses don't have poles? We need change.
So what are some other fallacies that, that you can tell us?
I mean, again, the dog thing, like, that would keep a lot of people happy, including myself. We had one that somebody just dropped off in our parking lot and, hauled butt. And we took her in and we all started feeding her and stuff, and everybody loved her. So we got to where all 3 shifts were on agreement. Like, all right, guys, we're going to try and work this out to where we just keep her here until they make us not keep her here. And we had her for like a little over a week. And then one of the guys I work with offered to adopt her and take her home full time, which was awesome. But we did it was like the whole morale just raised in there, just having one dog around.
Right.
It was awesome. But
right, and I mean this seriously. This isn't a joke, and you're going to all. Have you had a baby dropped off?
No,
because you're allowed to do it, and it's legal. And
yeah, that's true.
They just expanded the time window because of the University of Tampa had a student who delivered a baby
in the bathroom
and then disposed of the baby, and it passed. So I think the state just expanded that window of you can drop off a newborn, within 30 days, not just like in the first 28 hours or whatever it was, 48 hours.
Yeah, I don't know the timeline on it personally, but thankfully it hasn't happened to me. Yeah, it's kind of an awkward situation, but
no, for sure.
But it is definitely allowed. Yeah.
But we would much rather that than what happened at USF or the college or whatever.
So. Now, the greatest fight of all time, probably. I mean, obviously, Randy, your favorite fight of all time is
Matt Hughes, Frank Drake.
Okay, your favorite fight of all time?
I don't think I have one of those.
I'm gonna go Mark Coleman versus Housefire. He came victorious. He saved his parents, but we know it's a stressful job. We know it's a troubling job. What are the resources for firefighters when it comes to mental health and dealing with the emotional side of the job? Because from my experience, it seems like that's the hardest part. Is what happens after the tragedy, after the response, after the call, because you see trauma in every form, car wrecks to self-inflicted to domestic, So
yeah, it's probably a person by person basis. Some things bother people, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm kind of that guy. Like we were just saying, like I'm an animal person, so I couldn't be a vet or vet tech because it would actually bother me every single animal that didn't make it. I do like people. I like helping people, but typically when things don't go best case scenario, I don't take it home with me. But that being said, there are just endless stressful things about the job. A lot of sleep deprivation, all this stuff adds up and wears on you. So they do have outlets like peer counseling, different kind of mental rehab type things that are available if you ask for it.
Now, with that being said, have you ever gone to the hospital afterwards to check on a patient? Like, do you separate it like when you're done with the response?
Because that's frowned on Chicago Fire.
It's over. But have you gone to just check in, or like you cared, or you wanted to make sure that they made it through?
No, I mean, like there's been times where like we've asked like nurses and stuff like, hey, did this person end up okay? Stuff like that. But as far as like actually visiting, no. You know, I mean, that's not something I do typically. But teach their own. You know, what I mean, they most of the time people that are in bad situations just want family, anyways. But.
Can you hang out for another segment?
Sure.
All right, let's go hit the top of the hour break, hanging around with Captain Deadpool, and we're going to talk about that too when we return. This is Knockout Radio coming to you live from the Cool Breeze AC broadcast facility. We'll be right back. Read it.
This is Michael Clayton from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you're talking sports with Randy Harris.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Got bills? Looking for work, but nobody is hiring? Staff Zone is, as the leading provider of commercial construction,